I'd like to start off by greeting everybody in my language. So I say, Yiridu Marang, Yundu Anita Heiss, Baladua Rajri Geelang, Arambajibu, Brungley Bu, Megandi Bala Williams, Yindamaradu, India Gu, Mangu. So what I've said is hello. I am Anita Heiss. I have Wiradjuri belonging from Arambi Aboriginal Mission and Brungle Mission, and I'm a Williams. And Yindamara is a phrase that means to honour and respect, so I've paid respects to the Indian people, and thank you for having me here. I wanted to do that because as a Wiradjuri woman, I can say to you that we never ceded our sovereignty. And we have a conversation here today in the colonial language, which is what I was brought up with. At the age of 50, I've started learning my traditional language. And in an Aboriginal context, today is significant because it's the 26th of January, and we are the only first world nation that celebrates the day that they invaded a country. So back home in Australia, people are celebrating Australia Day. But if you look at a hashtag like Invasion Day, you will see that hundreds of thousands of people from all walks of life who call themselves Australian, and 27% of Australians are born overseas, are marching and protesting to change the date. So we are still very much, people talk about post-colonialism, we are still being colonised. So for me to be here today in an Aboriginal context, I'm extremely privileged. I wasn't removed under active protection, which took Aboriginal children from their families. I was raised by both my parents. I had access to health and education. I have published 18 books, all in English. My next novel will have dialogue between the main characters in my language, and that is a demonstration of sovereignty as well. But I think I have to believe that what we do makes a difference, otherwise I wouldn't do it, and I'm sure you wouldn't do it. I was interested in how we labelled anti-racist, when in fact I just think we're normal people, but we're often given labels. And I've just edited an anthology, Growing Up Aboriginal in Australia, and Australians think that the issues that we talk about as First Nations peoples are from the past. But 52 people in this anthology, ranging from 13-year-olds to 70-year-olds, talk about how every day of their lives they are challenged by non-Indigenous people who think they have the right to question their identity and to ask them, what blood quantum are you, but what caste are you? And caste means something different in my country, but what caste are you? And how can you be an Aboriginal person if you live in the city? And some very smart guy tweeted me today and said something like, well, assimilation has worked because you're using social media. You know, social media is the only platform where we have a voice, to be honest with you. And so I think we have demonstrated extreme resilience in a very small population of a very Western monoculture in Australia, and we are doing the best that we can. And I think at an international level, we have gained more respect than we have on our home soil, and I know that's true for lots of other people as well. And the sad thing is the things that we share in common are quite often the negative experiences of being people of colour or of being a minority. Does that answer your question, kind of?
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
I do believe that, and Randy and I were talking about this in the green room, that I've seen in the last 12 months an extraordinary shift in Australia in people engaging in Aboriginal stories, in our voices that are challenging and heart-wrenching, that demand respect, because we deserve respect. And in this anthology that has gone into reprint after reprint after reprint, and it's written for school teachers, same as you, wanting it for a broad audience. It's written for, 15 to plus, and because the classroom, I believe, is where we can create the change that we need for future generations. So I didn't learn about... Thank you. I didn't learn about... I learned even at my school that, Aboriginal people waved the boats into Botany Bay, which was bullshit. Sorry. Edit that out. We didn't have profanities. The colonisers gave us those. Our history books didn't talk about the warfare, where it's documented that there were wars. Australia had the greatest undeclared war in history because it wasn't declared war. And so it's really important for us to be writing us into the history, which has conveniently left us out. I still today have teachers who are talking about stereotypes that are so antiquated, that are perpetuated by the mainstream media largely, and by a media who will still allow a conversation that generates race hate, even though we have racial vilification laws in our country. And I do believe that there's been a shift. It's slow, but it's happening, and people are telling stories now that my mother, who was living under the Act of Protection, couldn't tell. She did not have a voice. She wasn't a citizen in Australia till she was 29 years of age. My grandmother was removed under the Act of Protection and put in a girls' home to become a servant for a white woman back in 1911.